y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of my so called disabled life, where I talk to all kinds of folks, all kinds of disabilities who are doing some amazing, awesome things. I'm really feeling myself today because it has been an awesome week with working with lawyers around accessibility in the city, with working with designers and fashion folks about making adaptive clothes, to being asked to walk in freaking New York Fashion Week. Holy shit, y'all. I never thought that I would be doing that, but September 11th, don't know why they chose that date, but they chose that date. So that's what we do in that day. And we're going to be out there in Brooklyn doing some fashion stuff. So I invited everybody. So if you want a link to get your ticket, hit me up and you can come and be there and schmooze with some of these folks. So I am so excited to introduce the next person. I'm interviewing Keith Paris today, and him and I actually met through some of my other fashion work and the performances I was doing last summer, and we hit it off so well. He's a content creator, he's a model, he's an amazing advocate, and I just am so excited to share him and his story with you guys. So, welcome Keith to the show. Hi
Hi
Keith.
everyone. Hi. Thank you for having me.
So, how you doing today?
I'm so good. I can't complain. I'm like blessed and highly favored. Like you said, I'm feeling myself too. I'm just like home. I'm just like creating. I'm just like in my little office here creating, thinking of new ideas for like the year. And like, girl, we're here.
That is so beautiful. So, I start off all these interviews asking people very simple question, but actually doesn't have a simple answer. So, who is Keith and why do you do what you do?
I think who is Keith? I think he's just a regular guy. I think he's like your typical boy next door, your sweet kind guy, and but like there's more layers to him to meets the eye. I feel like when I walk in a room, automatically everyone's like, "Oh, who is that?" Because with the prosthetic leg, either if I'm wearing like full glam of makeup and stuff like that, or depending on what depending on what event I'm at, if it's like something chill, laid back, they're like, "Okay, he's chill, he's cool. Like who? Like I want to know more of him." Or if it's like a full red carpet moment, they're like, "Oh wait, no, I want to talk to him because I feel like he is telling a story." Like, I feel like that's like who Keith is.
Wonderful. And is there so can you tell us a bit about your story as an amputee and your experiences as that? Because oftentimes, especially in the fashion world, we know it is so difficult to get them to incorporate disability, let alone like folks who are not white, but like disability as well. So can you tell us about your amputee story?
Yeah, so how honestly it all started, I was just born, born normally from my mother. And on my left leg, I didn't have the tibula. So the tibula is like a bone where your knee is. It's like that. The tibula is a very important bone that which you need to walk in. And then magically, I didn't have that bone on my left leg, so they amputate from like above knee. So I'm kind of like above knee amputee. And how they categorize it, they said I had tibula hemimelia. So that's just a fancy word saying it's like, okay, I didn't have the tibial bone when I was born, so they had to amputate at a young age for me. So since birth, I was like this. I know there's like I Google myself sometime. A lot of people, there's like so much rumors. People think like, oh, I was in a car crash or I was in the war or a gang and stuff like that. But I never, those are not true. These rumors are debunked, obviously. So I find it so funny when I like Google myself and people think those were the causes. But no, I was just really just born normally. I didn't have like a crazy horror story. And honestly, just in the industry and just like how you were saying, like clothing for disability, people like us and just like that respect level in the fashion world or just even in the normal world overall. I always remember when I was younger, my mom, she always used to buy me jeans. And then like sometimes she really didn't like the jeans that was on me just because like I don't know, it wasn't fitting for my prosthetic leg, or like there was even a time I know now in my adult years, I wear a lot of like shorts, like jean shorts or even like short shorts. There was even a time I wasn't confident wearing like shorts like in public just because of just the scrutiny about like being disabled and like the looks. I feel like back in the day, but now fast forward more accepted.
Nah, totally. I totally understand that. And I've also gone through very similar things where oops, so sorry, y'all. Oh my gosh, so my computer is acting real wild right now. I'm so sorry, Keith. Goodness, I don't know what happened there. But I've also gone through that as well. 'Cause I became an amputee 13 years ago, and as soon as I became an amputee, the people around me were like, "Oh, cover up. Oh, don't show us that. Oh, that's gonna scare people." And I was
Yeah.
just like, maybe it's scaring you, but I don't think people are generally scared. They're curious, but they're not scared of like limb difference. And I think that that's something society really has to work on because it's been so strange trying to, to teach people that like no one's going to be scared of my limb difference, and also you got to get over your own personal ableism. So when we met, and not only did we meet at that with the open mic going on, and we talked about the clothing line that your friend put together, and then also did a fashion shoot last summer, which was so fun.
Yes.
What are some of the can you talk about that whole project and some of the other adaptable clothing projects that you've been part of?
Yeah, so Adara Styles, I'm just like the social media coordinator for that. I had such a fun time shooting that for like our season one, doing that in person. So that's like literally how we met. And then what's so funny now, outside of the fashion disability world, I've been noticing more in public. A lot of people have been noticing me from those videos. It's been going super viral online. And I find it so funny because like I think I forgot where I was. I think I was at like an event or something, and it was a beauty event. So it's separate from, like, fashion and, like, that realm, and, like, somebody was like, "Oh my god, I know you from, like, TikTok and stuff." I was like, "Oh, really? Like, what kind?" And I always like people like, "How you like feedback?" I wanna hear the feedback too. So I'm like, "Oh, like, are you from, like, my tutorials and stuff?" And they was like, "No." They was like, "Yeah, but also you did the Adara style thing." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." So this is, like I'm happy it's, like, getting its own light and its own shine, and, like, I always get noticed, like, all the time depending on the day if I'm, but if the day is really good, but, I really just like hearing that feedback and the responses from, like, real people, and so I'm so super proud of her, she's just doing her own thing with that, so, like, Audera style is the word redo, it's twisted around and, it's so Adair is like redo and like, we're just redoing fashion. So, and it's a more an accessible place for disability people to get like their clothing, just more like support and stuff like that overall. So, and she got the inspiration from her sister, 'cause her sister is disabled as well. And she always remember when she was younger, when she used to help her sister with the clothing and everything. And like, it was always a hard time. A lot of the pieces wasn't accessible and stuff like that. And, like, thank God we're in a generation now, it's like, fashion has evolved and it made it more accessible for all walks of life. So that's how the brand was really like made, how she made like the brand. So I'm just happy to be, she thought of me and like, she was like, hey, like I am a funny story. I actually was hesitant to do it because I was like, I never done correspondence stuff before. I done it once, and it was like years ago, and it was for MTV. It was actually for Cardi B when her album came out, Invasion of Privacy, and it was for but it was for Facebook Live. So that was like my first one time ever, and I always still want to do correspondence stuff. But I was like, when she hit me up, I was like, really, like me, like I don't know, like and at the time I was like really busy with like my personal work. I had so much shoots and like obligations that I was doing. So I'm happy like we met in the middle and like I was a part of it.
That is so cool. We also hashtagging Cardi B up in here, so maybe
Yeah.
she'll see this post because that's awesome. And that's such a great way to get started in this, and then you turned around and did all this with this new project. That's awesome. That's wonderful. And what are some of the other companies that you've worked with, and what has your experience been, especially with people who have barely or never worked with anyone with a physical disability?
Yeah, so, like, other brands I work for, like, I think it's well known, like, when you Google me and stuff, like, I modeled for Adidas. They was truly amazing, and, they have a lot of disability pieces. I modeled for Savage X Fenty, I was one of their content creators, like, their influencer. I still do stuff for them, like, here and there. Modeled for, like, Carter Wear. I'm super close with the owner, so shout out to Derek. He's amazing. I was so inspired by his work and like he's just super creative and stuff. And he's really changing the game like in the black male gay spaces. So I'm just super proud of him. And then like makeup brands like Rihanna, like Fenty Beauty, Huda Beauty, Huda Katana. She knew me since I was like 19. And she's such an amazing advocate too as well. So I'm super proud of her and all the amazing work she has done. And that's, like, honestly, like, pretty much it. I feel like I work with so much brands over the years, and, like, I'm very selective who I work for because it's like, I will only work for a company if I really feel like I understand their message, their story, and, like, just if I'm really honestly a fan because I know we're in a generation now especially you can relate to this too because you're in the industry like me. I feel like a lot of content creators and people they just want to work with brands because it's like that fast money, fast money, fast money. But that's not me. I want to work with a company that like is very they have history behind the brand. So like they're in the company for years. So like for instance, one of my friends, she used to be the social media manager for Proactive, and she hit me up to do content for them. And obviously, when you hear Proactive, it's like, oh my God, I remember the commercials. I remember, like, I remember using the product as a young age and stuff like that. Me personally, I never used their products before because my doctor never recommended me Proactive, but I remember the commercials and I felt like it's such a good omen for me because it's like, oh my God, I remember the commercials when he used to show up on Teen Nick and Nickelodeon, and obviously I was young at the time, so like I don't have no business using like teen acne like medicine and stuff like that. But it was such a good omen for me to work with the brand and like feel inspired. Another brand I worked for was Hot Topic. And that was like during COVID time, and like we did some amazing stuff. And like Hot Topic, I always remember when I was younger, just get passing through the stores. It was super scary. It's not how it was now, like how it's more anime and like more like e-girl, e-boy. But back in the day, if you remember, like it was used to be so scary. I used to get chills. I was like, oh my God, it feels like I'm in Halloween. It was like Halloween Town. But like when they hit me up and when I worked with them, it was such a good omen for me because it was like, oh my God. I remember just going in the stores with my mom and like holding her hand because I was honestly scared for my life. But I had no business going there, but I wanted to go in there because they had a lot of dope anime t-shirts.
I love that. I'm an OG Hot Topic fan. I used to go when it was scary in there. I loved
Yes.
it. My dad would take us to the Staten Island Mall sometimes, and they had a Hot Topic as soon as you came into the mall, and it'd always go up in there, and I would just stand there and look at all the stuff I couldn't afford, and I was like, "Ooh, I love it so much." So Hot Topic, if you want an OG Hot Topic fan, I got you. Hit me up.
Yes.
That's awesome. So let's pivot a smidge. I, ableism comes in all kinds of walks of life. And so what has been your experience? And I'm not sure if you're single or dating or anything like that, but I've heard a lot of ableism in the gay community, and it breaks my heart a little bit. I'm like, you guys, why are we divvying out disabled folks just because they have a disability? If someone's part of the community, let's all hang out together. So have you had any issues, or has there been anything that you've seen, and also what have your experiences been as a young disabled man, sort of out and about and trying to like meet people and date and all that stuff?
Oh, you asking the real good question. This is the real tea. This is what I get every time. And honestly, I talk about this a lot with my best friend Anthony and like our group of friends because like the people that I hang out with, I'm very I'm very selective who I hang around with. It's like people who's in my corner, they've been around me since I was at a young age, who I just knew for like I gotta be like 5 or 10 plus years. So like my group of gay friends, we always talk about this. Like we always peep things that happen in our community, especially in my group of friends. They're black, minority, different walks of life and stuff like that. So I think for me, the dating scene has been pretty interesting that I could say. So like for one instance, like dating and hookup apps, I don't know, the energy changed so much. Like when I was younger, I used to have so much fun on these apps. I used to be like, oh my God, I'm back in this guy, this guy, this guy, whatever. But now there's a lot of like mysterious people on the apps. And like when I mean mysterious, it's like mysteriously bullies. So like I've been getting a lot of like hateful comments like on my profiles, and people's like, oh, like there was this one guy, and what's so funny, I saw him in person at my gym who was harassing me for like months. He would text me randomly on like these blank profiles and be like, oh, like we want an able person or something like that, or like grow a pair of legs or something. And like, you if you want to be in like the hookup scene or like the dating scene or whatever. And I used to be like, who is this guy? And then I found how he looks like because he texted me, because he actually was texting me on his real profile. And then I think I didn't text him back. It was just 1 second because he's in the bathroom or something. And then he texted me these hateful comments. And I was like, wait, this is the guy. And then I saw his face. And then literally that same day I saw him in the gym, and then he was like trying to act nice to me. And I'm like, no, like you're a jerk. Like, But like the scene, it's in the black gay spaces, they always talk about like, oh, we want all walks of life to party with us, like feminine guys, plus side guys, disabled, trans, women or men, whatever like that. But like a lot of these parties, they like preach that, but they don't do it. Like they only advertise the same a certain look, like the more masculine guys, like mask on mask, not really mask with femmes and like stuff like that. So like I don't really entertain myself in those kind of parties. If I see the BS, there was a company I used to like go to their circuit parties a lot, and I used to have fun at first. And me and my friends, we used to have fun at first, but now, and I was one of their ambassadors, but now, fast forward, they really are just focusing on like a certain type of look. And what's so funny, the owner, he made a general post. He was like, "Hey, looking for models," and I was like, "Oh, I want to do it." Like, cause I've been working for the company for years. He like texted me. He was like, "Okay, the shoot's tomorrow." Never text me the location, and that's not me. If I'm doing business, I will send you like the address, the designated time, the geo tag. If you need an Uber, I'll send you. And you know me, I do real business, so I find that very shady for him to like leave me hanging. And then what's so crazy? Fast forward now, that little company, somebody like deleted the IG account. They're like scrambling right now. So you see, I don't get my hands dirty. I think for me too, I think a lot of people really like vibe with me online and stuff like that, because I be chilling. I do say a lot of shady ish online, but like I be in my house, like you see, there's anime mangas and I be reading, I be playing my video games, I be literally I'm literally you're on my gaming desk right now. Like right after this, I'm gonna play like some video games. I just be in my own world praying to God, talking to my friends. We be like joking, sending each other memes. That's literally me.
I love that so much, how you don't let some of these haters get to you and you just keep doing what you're doing, and your energy stays so fresh and so chill and so cool. And I just love that so much. And guess what, y'all? Is their loss. If they don't want to work with us, if they don't want to work with you, if they don't want to date you, if they don't, it's
They'll
their
be
loss.
back. They'll be back. Watch. No, you're gonna no, they'll be back. Even in your mind too, like how you said you're doing fashion week and stuff,
Mhm.
you probably think in your head, like, wow, I head up this brand, and they would tell me like, no. Watch after when you're in you're in that light, and like, you're on the carpet and like you're walking, they're gonna come rolling back. They're gonna like your post. They're gonna be like, because I've seen it happen to me many, many times. And then what you do, you just boss up, and if they want to work with you, and if you was trying to do business with them, you send them whatever rate, whatever, double it. Be like, oh, thank you. So hey, this is my thing. Let's double it. It's like
I
reverse,
love that.
two for your
Yes.
mistake.
I love that. Taken, written down, gonna do it. That's it. Beautiful. I love that so much. Thank you for the advice, honey. Oof, I love it.
Yes.
So you were talking a little bit about some of the things that your friends would do. So what are some of the things that you do to keep that joy? Because I've been talking about disabled joy a lot in these episodes lately. especially with the world being such a hardcore dumpster fire. It's like it's always been a dumpster fire, but these days it seems like it's gone to like, 5 or 10 dumpster fire to like 1,000 dumpster fires. So how do you stay happy and joyful through all of this, all these shenanigans?
Honestly, I just have to really like self-care a lot, and that's what I really do. So if it's like me creating content that I love doing, or like how I just told you, like I be in my own world in my house. So like if it's like reading my mangas or like playing my video games or even just watching a show I love and like hanging out with my friends, and we'll go to like cool chill lounges, or where we go to each other's house and they just like talk like for hours and hours and stuff like that. Or even too for me, like so therapeutic for me, I love going to the gym. I could stay there for hours. My gym have a sauna, so I'll like do my routine, go in the sauna, come in and out of the sauna, get some water, just really self-care on myself. I think that's how I stay sane in this world that we're living right now. And not even the world. I feel like just the industry that I'm in, because there's so much things that I do. I don't box myself. I do the fashion, I do the beauty, I do the advocacy, and like these are all things that I love. But sometimes it gets overwhelming. And honestly, I feel like the main groups it gets overwhelming. It's really in the beauty space and like obviously in the fashion, but not really fashion, I would say. I would mainly say the beauty space because there's some like the beauty influencers and stuff like that.
That's so great. I love that you have that space where you do that self-care, and that's paramount and the most important. That's so awesome. So if you could share some sort of like advice with a younger version of yourself, or even other young kids with disabilities, what would your advice be to them?
Ooh, my advice would be wherever you're at right now, I know you're young. I know you feel like your life is not moving on, but just enjoy the ride. Like I always get this question. Everyone always asks me, like, "Oh, would you go back in time and like change something?" I wouldn't change nothing because it got me to where I am right now. So for the younger Keith, I would say just enjoy the ride. Everything what's happening, if it's good or bad, it's gonna grow you to the person that you are today. So I would never change nothing in the past. Advice I always heard too, like in life, we always moving forward. We're not moving backward. It's like steps. You want to move up. We're never going back down.
That's great advice. That is great advice. So also in that line, if there was something that you could change about the world, what would that be?
Oh my God, I think there's a lot. There's a lot I could change. Obviously, like, racism, like homophobia, transphobia, like, like supporting people's like disabilities and their walks of life and stuff like that. I feel like that's obviously like a given, you know, supporting women, so like women's rights, their body, their choice and stuff like that. Like there's a lot. And I think like it shows who I am as a person. Like, I advocate so much for like these things that I'm saying to you right now. And like, what stuff, even when you Google me, is like I done so much for like the community and stuff like that. So I love like giving back. I love talking about topics that like people is like afraid to talk about too and stuff like that. And this is why I always say to people, it's like, you know, these influencers, these whoever, they could be a pretty face, but like I want to know who they are on the inside and like what are they doing to give back to themselves or like to their community, their race, their gender, or like whoever. Like, you know what I mean? We have to be very intentional nowadays. So we following and supporting.
That's so great. And I love that. I feel like so many of us, I think, sometimes think that one, we don't have anything in common with some of these communities, and two, that we have no communities in our marginalization, and that we're just all alone. And it's like, no, no, no. There are so many people going through a lot of similar things, and we can build community around that and also support each other. And I do that too with my advocacy. Like I support folks with like developmental disabilities, folks who are deaf and blind. And it's like I don't have those, but that doesn't mean that's not going to stop me from showing up for them. Because we all need to show up for each other. So I love that you're doing that. That's so great.
Thank you.
Um, I know talked about this a teeny bit, but have you what's it been like to be discriminated against by certain people with something that you clearly can't change. You're not a starfish. Your leg's not going to grow back. You know, you're not going to be able to change your race. You're not going to be able to change certain things about yourself. So, what's it been like to be discriminated against? And what have these experiences been like?
Yeah, I feel like I've been discriminated my whole life, especially when I was younger. People, when I was younger as a kid, people really didn't get it. They didn't really get what the disability is. And that was just hard for me to go through. So, like, people used to thought, like, oh, I have cancer or I was sick and stuff like that. And obviously, those are just like ignorant things to say to a child. Cause it's like looking back at it is like very harm. But like in my adult years now, like when I look back at it, I'm like, you know what, I just have to laugh at it. Like, this person was crazy or this brother or sister wasn't really educated. Like, they just really just don't know. But fast forward now, I feel like I still do get discriminatory. Like how I told you, like, it's one thing with like social media now is so prevalent, with the comments and like the anonymous like pages and stuff like that. And then just mainly like in person too, is like they'll do it like behind your back and like but like I always find out and like I just really don't care. And it's like how I told you, like they'll be back. Like, I think a lot of people nowadays, they really do pay attention to like looks and like honestly, it's kind of like a hierarchy. It's just like if you know somebody that higher, then you get that popularity and stuff like that. If I show up to a party regular like this, and there's nothing wrong showing up like this, but if I just be low key showing up to a party like this and like no glam, just like regular clothes, whatever, like, I will get looked down upon, like, people would try to, like, shun me and stuff like that, especially in, like, spaces that, like, is prevalent that I should be in, like the queer space, like, like, the industry and stuff, but mainly in the queer space, this happens a lot. If I show up work like this in the queer space, people won't give me the time of day. It's, like, people like, who know me, then will give me.
Uh-oh. Are you still there? Oof, just technology. Technology's not our friend, y'all. Sometimes. And
Oh,
oh,
sorry.
it's all good. It is all good. It's all good. Keep going.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was getting a call. Oh my god. Um, what I was saying. Yeah, so like they would like shun, like, not giving, they would not recognize me or give me like the flowers that I deserve. But if I'm in my jewelry full, iced out, everything like that, then it'll be like up my ass and like, they'll be like, oh, this is like who and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, it's all like a social climb game, honestly.
That is just yeah. That's one thing that I hope as with our various diverse communities that we can get through and get over having to have people show up basically putting on a show for other folks rather than just being present and being there. And so I appreciated you sharing that. So one of the last things I'm going to ask is there anything that you're looking forward to, any projects or any things that you're doing that you want to share?
Ooh, I can share one thing with you and actually send you the photo of it that I haven't shared anything to people and stuff like that. So like I've been hinting at blogs, been picking it up and stuff like that. So like I'm remastering my first book. So the image I sent you for this was actually from the shoot. So and I did that last year. So I'm super excited to share, like, show that it's like a remaster of the first book, but there's gonna be more chapters, more from my head. I think when I wrote the first one, those were like thoughts how I was when I was little, but now this remastered is gonna be like, oh, this is what I'm going through in my adult years right now. So like in the new version, I talk about just things I went through in the industry, love, dating, like some of the key things we talked about even on this like discussion right now, just about like, not like you not being able to like be a part of these spaces, these conversations, stuff like that. I tackle like all of that, and I think a lot of people would be interested to like read this and see where I am right now, and like I'm still teaming up with Wattpad, and like honestly, just that whole process for me for doing this, it kind of felt like an album. Like I was creating like music, I was creating, so the rollout and everything is gonna feel like I'm coming out with like music and stuff like that. So I'm super excited for like you to read. Actually gonna send you like probably like a sneak peek of it so you could like read, let me know. But like no, that's the one thing I'm like super excited. So like hopefully this year. And I keep saying this year and stuff like that because like writing is such a process. I really do feel like I'm making an album and stuff like that because like these are like my thoughts. I always go back and I'm like, okay, let me change this word. Let me get dictionary.com. Let me make sure I'm spelling right. Or like, like my thesis statement and everything. Like, it's all a whole process, but I love it. I love writing. I think writing, that's another thing I love doing. Writing is so therapeutic to me. I have so much notebooks about my thoughts, ideas. I always on my notes app, I'm always like thinking of like ideas, creating like quotes and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a beautiful process. But like hopefully this year, fingers crossed. But like I'm just really taking my time and like, just still creating, online with like my content and stuff like that. Still working with so much brands and partnerships and stuff like that.
I love that so much. Please do send me that book. And I also want to have you back when the book is out so you can read from it because I think that that would be incredible. We could do a whole book reading and a whole thing, and I'll ask you questions because I'll read it and ask you questions. Yeah. Ooh, that's exciting for me. I love that. Oh, gosh. Wonderful. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with folks?
Um, no, just thank you guys for listening. All my socials is Icy Paris, Paris with two R's. And yeah, thank you so much. I think I really want to thank people who I know people might notice like my name on probably in this interview and stuff like that. I really just want to say thank you to anyone who person knows me or like knows of my work online. I've been doing this since I was like 14. So just being able to talk to you and like this beautiful life that I grown by myself, no agency, no manager, no nothing. I think it just speaks volume who I am as a person and just like how creative I am and like how the life is like honestly like blessing me. So I thank you for like having me. I think anybody who really supports what I do and yeah.
Well, thank you so, so much for being here. All the links, you guys, will be in the show notes because I want y'all to really go check out what Keith is doing. You're doing so many cool, amazing things. And I want everyone to go see what you're doing and support you. And what's the name of your book?
Amputee Story is on Wattpad right now and the new book is gonna be called Amputee Testimony.
There you go. Check out Amputee Testimony. We will let you know when it drops, and we will definitely have you back, Keith, to talk about it. We're gonna do a whole little interview. I'm gonna be Oprah, and we're gonna do it.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you. It just makes me
Yes.
happy that you're
Thank
doing
you.
this amazing book. That's so awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching us today. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I will see y'all on the next episode. Take care, y'all. Bye.
Yes, thank you. Bye.